Hey, 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 everybody. Happy Saturday. This is a rare, almost never happens show with Lois Koffi. I'm your host of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, and this is impromptu, very much impromptu, based on some responses I got in emails yesterday sharing this upcoming, amazing, possibly life-changing webinar my husband and I are hosting on Tuesday. So, here at the Healthy and Wealthy Wise community, a lot has shifted, a lot has changed and transformed in my life. And you've often heard me talk about my husband and how, like a year ago, I thought, is this marriage going to work? I think we're going to get a divorce. I just don't know. We were both going through our individual healing processes. And through that, through truly going inward, tapping into our higher self, our inner wisdom, that's the wisdom part of Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise. We both healed a lot of wounds, a lot of shadow, and we actually found a lot of light. We found a lot of gifts and a lot of shifts that came as a result of focusing on that inner healing journey. So to keep this really, short, I wanted to bring my husband on today to talk about how his health, his wealth, his wisdom has transformed because he discovered not to live in fear anymore, but to really tap into his higher self, his inner wisdom, and find his true gifts. Because we believe everyone has dormant gifts lying in wait deep inside of them that may actually, because they're not being used, be causing your depression, maybe causing your health issues, maybe causing your financial scarcity blocks, because when you shut down your truth, you're actually shutting down abundance. And we believe in abundance here at Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise. And so since I got a couple of emails yesterday from my Intro to Mediumship webinar email on my list inside of my Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise community, we wanted to talk today. What is mediumship? What is it not? Based on the emails, there's some, and I say this with love and compassion, there's some very big stigmas and misconceptions about what we are actually doing to now help people, because this is part of my husband's gifts as well as mine, to help heal and change and transform people's minds and hearts so that they can live their best health and their best wealth and their best wisdom. So Didier, I'm so excited to have you here today to gain some clarity and talk about your webinar that's coming up on Tuesday, November 1st, just in time for All Saints Day, All Souls Day, Dia de Muertos, whatever you're celebrating, whatever you believe is perfect here. We don't judge. We hold space with love and compassion for all beliefs. And Didier, first of all, what is mediumship? And then how did you discover those abilities?
Yeah, thanks, Lois, for this opportunity to kind of give a little bit of clarification about the meaning behind the word mediumship, at least from my standpoint, because I'm going to be the one really presenting this concept. So I have an understanding of it that may not necessarily be a match to what some people already think of mediumship or have heard about mediumship. So let's talk about that. So for me, mediumship is nothing other than tapping into your divinely received gifts. It's a gift from the divine in my definition of mediumship. And why do I call it a gift? Because if you do believe that we are all created from the divine is by definition love and abundance. There is no scarcity in the divine. There is no non-love in the divine. The divine is only love, nothing else, period. So if we are creations of the divine, then the divine has given to every single one of us a set of gifts. There are Bible stories about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whatever gifts you received from the divine is really what my mediumship is about. It's about tapping into your inner self to discover what it is that the divine has gifted me with that I can use to become a better version of myself, my higher, best version of myself, which is in full alignment with divine calling, divine truth. And how can I use that to serve? The word service is so important here. Mediumship is not a selfish quest. It is a quest of service. But service only comes properly when one understands who he or she is. Because if you pretend to be someone or somebody you're not, you are in disservice because you're not shining the light that was divinely given to you as being your responsibility in this lifetime to shine that particular light in alignment with the divine. So think about that. That puts things in perspective. Now, go ahead, Lois.
I was just going to say, maybe if you want to transition into, because that was beautiful. And I think when we get to your story, it's going to even much more deepen it. I would love it though, before we share your story, if you can maybe talk about what mediumship is not, like even in some of the words, some of the fears, some of the misconceptions. Do you mind giving a definition of what it is not?
Absolutely. So, and to keep it even more contextual to who I am. So you guys know that I was born in Africa, West Africa. So Africa is a very, very, very ancient land, right? There's a lot of history and cultures that goes back millennials in the back, all the way to ancient Egypt and so forth, you know? So a lot of time people think of mediumship as some kind of a shortcut, like a tricksters and a book to do things that are not necessarily, I would say, beneficial to not just an individual, but to the community the individual is part of. I don't want to use the word evil because I believe that that also is a very restrictive way of thinking about everything. I would just say that some people think of mediumship as a way to kind of sell your soul to the devil. Let's just say it, right? Oh my goodness, you're a medium. You work with the devil. Well, maybe some do. I don't. Surely don't. Some people think of mediumship as a way also where you are kind of trespassing into a realm that is not humans' realm. That is, if you're talking to the dead, my goodness, why would you be talking to the dead? You're a living individual. You should not have anything to do with the dead. You know, the realm of the dead is beyond, you know, the living. And you isolate yourself to a definition of yourself that is very restrictive. So a lot of times I think of mediumship, in my definition, my mediumship is nothing like that, right? Mediumship is not selling your soul to the devil. It's not tapping into dark energies. It's not communicating with demons and God knows what else. No, that is not my definition of mediumship.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think because I know we wanted to keep this a little bit shorter to also invite people to your webinar on Tuesday. Yeah. And I think it's really important to, now that we've defined mediumship, you know, connecting to your divine self, again, whether you guys call that God, higher self, divine, mother. I mean, we have so many respects for all of the different words and sometimes the labels and the words that are also stuck in our head, because I know that's where people prejudge the word mediumship because they have had, and believe me, I know, I have misconceptions about hypnotherapy, right? Because I used to think, oh, the hypnotism, oh, that's evil, that's bad. And now I know, I'm like, no, it's just, what were you taught as a child? What were the fears that were probably projected upon you? And now that we're using this word, since I had some people really concerned and worried about me, I was like, you know, let's have an open conversation about this. So we've defined what mediumship is, what it's not. So thank you for clarifying that. And how, by not honoring your mediumship abilities, how is that impacting your life? Let's first talk about the kind of the ugly side of it, if we can call it that.
Yes, and it's a perfect time to talk about it. We're getting into Halloween time here, St. Eve's, All Saints Day. So there's a lot of talk around this time about the departed, our beloved departed, right? People we love, parents, could be friends, siblings who have departed this earth. And I have a story to share. Around the year, so it was 2020, so the beginning of the pandemic, I was, at that time, I was not so much in alignment with my true self and the gifts, the divine gifts that were mine to discover, understand, cherish, and share with the world. I was not there. But for the grace of the divine, again, sometimes you get calls, you get reminders of things that are important for you to focus on. And it happened to me in a completely unexpected way. At that time, Lois was traveling to the Midwest for some business stuff, and I stayed back in California with the kids. And it was February. And then one night while she was away, on the side of my bed, I kind of came out of my sleep because I felt that something was standing next to me, or someone was standing next to me. So I opened my eyes and I started looking around, and I was in and out of it. I'm like, okay, I must be still dreaming. And I saw a figure, a person, a man standing next to me. And I was like, okay, why is there a man standing next to me? And I looked carefully to figure out who that man was. And I saw my brother-in-law. His name is Rich. And he was looking very pale. He was looking very, paused. He was not expressing any words. He was just staring quietly at me. And I looked at him back, and I was like, dude, what are you doing here? And he didn't say a word. He was just very quiet, but not looking good. He was looking pale and gray, not looking good. Like these typical goat sighting we see in movies. That's exactly what I was looking at. And then it disappeared. And I was like, okay, I must have been dreaming. And I went back to sleep. Lois came back the next day from her trip in the Midwest. And then we resumed, our normal lives. And I think within the second or third day after she came back, we got a phone call. And Lois she got the call. And then I was in my office doing some work. We were working from home because the pandemic was right around the corner too, but it hadn't officially shut down, but I was still already working from home. And she said, Didier, I need to tell you something. Rich is dead. And when she told me that, I said, when? And she says, we don't really know, but we think it's been several days. He died in his kitchen alone in his home in Iowa. And I realized that, holy crap, I saw him as a ghost figure, very likely after he had passed away. And maybe he was trying to tell somebody, hey guys, I'm dead and I'm laying on the floor in my house. Mm-hmm. So at the time, I didn't tell Lois that I had that vision of his brother because I was really trying to process the whole thing myself. I'm like, wait a second. I understood that he had passed away. I was very sad because we were thinking about celebrating our 50th birthday that same year. And Rich and I were just about 2 weeks apart from each other, born on the same year. So it was a shock, to me, to Lois, to her family. But at the same time, it kind of triggered something in my mind. I'm like, why? Why did he come to me? Why was I able to know before everybody else that it actually has passed away, but never paid attention, didn't give it the credentials of that knowledge that I had received? And that kind of opened up a doorway within myself to say, okay, I need to look into this a little bit deeper. And sure enough, in the year 2020, a lot of our beloved ones died. A lot of people died. And guess what? I started hearing them at night and feeling their pain, their anguish, their agony. And I couldn't sleep. And I was telling Lois, I'm going crazy here. What's going on with me? Mm-hmm. And that's how pretty much the beginning of my mediumship journey started. I wanted to understand the true meaning behind what I was experiencing. And that was a long journey to get to the bottom of it.
Hmm. Yeah, there's so much you learned from that process, and we couldn't have done it alone. We got a lot of help. Being able to have people who can help you with these kind of things, because we both had our own numbing mechanisms in life. Our marriage was crumbling. We were both stricken with a lot of grief and not understanding a lot of the emotions and things that were happening for us.
Yes.
So it was about 18 months time, we both unpacked, both in our own ways even. So there's not just one path to, fine tuning and honing in on these skills. But now on the other side, and you guys will want to tune into the webinar on Tuesday to hear more of the story and then get some support in the live webinar. Now, how is your life now that you've spent about 18 months tapping into your zone of genius, your higher self, your channel, and using these gifts for the greater good?
Yes, it's an amazing journey. The journey was difficult, I would say. There are great moments. There were dark moments. There was a lot of pain, a lot of struggle, a lot of negotiation. But I'm at a point now where I'm starting to see the goodness of all of it. Even the struggles, the pain, the confusion, the arguments, this sense of loss that I experienced over those 18 months on and off, right? It was not just all doom and gloom during this entire time, but there were very difficult times that Lois and I went through. Now I see this whole thing in perspective. I understand so much better by being more in alignment. And that's really what it comes down to. By being more in alignment with my true self, right? What was divinely given to me to be able to receive, nurture, and use as a service to others. It makes life so much more enjoyable. It gives meaning at a deeper level than I had before of my purpose here, the reason why I am alive today in this particular lifetime. It opens my heart to my entire human brothers and sisters, starting, of course, with myself. So there's so much that starts with yourself, because if you don't have it inside you, you cannot get it out. You can only put out what's inside you. So having this sense of centeredness and purpose, alignment, safety, as well as empowerment, to really voice myself without fear, or no matter what people think about. If I'm in alignment within myself, that's all that is important. The light that I shine will be seen by those who are meant to see it. And that's all I can ask for. So having that centeredness has allowed me to be so much more present in my marriage, present with my children, present in my community, my spiritual community that we've started creating around ourselves, and service to the world. There's so much pain, confusion, hurt in these days out there in the world. And being able to play my part by shining my light and helping others find their own light and shine it takes care of bringing down that pain, confusion that's around in the world. And I do believe that that's one of the most beautiful way to live your life. It's in service to yourself and to your community, in truth of who you truly are.
Yeah, so cool. My crown chakra is firing right now. I did want to acknowledge your sister, your beautiful sister, my sister-in-law. She said, Rich's death triggered a gift that was latent in you, already had the ability. We didn't even tell you the whole story, guys, because we've had haunted houses that we've lived in. We've run the gamut since the day one of our marriage, actually. and you're right. Rich's death, the pandemic, helped bring it forth, and that's why we're here, sharing our story, because we know we are not alone. We know. Actually, I think the divorce rate is so high in America because people don't really know their true inner self. People are addicted to fear. They're addicted to codependency. And we really want to help people get back to your truth. And when you're shining your light in your way, there's so much more love. There's so much more connectedness. And like you said, Didier, there's so much more presence. So we would invite you to, and I'll drop the link in the show notes. I'll drop it in the comments below if you're watching this live or in YouTube, of course. It's Tuesday, November 1st. Again, that's All Saints Day, All Souls Day, the Day of the Dead. A lot of people, you know, in different cultures celebrate those that have gone before. And Didier has channeled all of my dead loved ones, and that was very healing through his paintings. And so he's really got a gift that now is turning into something that can change the world and bring a lot of healing and hope. And so if you feel like you have those gifts, or something's kind of been gnawing at you and you can't figure out what it is, maybe you struggle with depression, anxiety. Maybe I see this in clients, the shiny object syndrome. You're all over the place. You're over committing because there's something inside of you that you're ignoring. Maybe because of your childhood, maybe because of religious beliefs and things that say, you know, you can't do that. That's bad. That's wrong. Black sheep of the family, all are welcome here, who maybe feel like you're outcasted because you know you have a gift, but you're afraid to share it, or you just don't know how, like we didn't, how to nurture it, how to develop it, how to plant the seeds, water it, put sunlight on it, and allow it to grow. You know, like the lotus, we love the lotus. That's what we call our home now, is the lotus throne. The lotus starts in the mud, right? Really, really thick, yes, you know, sticky, you know, mud. And then when it comes out, it just creates this beautiful, like, rebirthing process of beauty and compassion. And that's what we want to help inspire others to create for you. And that's what Healthy and Wealthy and Wise is all about. So Tuesday, November 1st, 4 p.m. Pacific. If you saw value in this episode, it was an impromptu one, please hit the share button. Sharing is caring. And we believe, because I've had lots of friends commit suicide, a lot of people have depression, anxiety. I believe a lot of them made those choices or turned to medications or medicating their medications because they don't know how to go within and develop these gifts. So we have a passion for mental health here at Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, and a passion for suicide prevention. So just putting it out there, just reminding you, part of our why, part of our purpose and passion is to help you self-discover what may be lying dormant inside of you, and not be scared, not feel judged, because that self-judgment was what both he and I were holding on, that was not serving us. And so it's a beautiful thing. Is there anything else you want to share, Didier, about Tuesday, or anything you want to close with?
No, I think you wrapped it up pretty nicely. So asking people to join me that Tuesday, if you can. There's some beautiful experiences that I will share with you, and then you get an opportunity to express yourself too, and have an audience of other, like individuals who maybe like you are trying to find answers to things that they know are brewing inside it and already know how to figure it out. Well, we can do it as a community, and I'll be there to kind of moderate or this conversation.
Awesome. And he's developed a program as well beyond this. So even if you can't make the webinar, sign up. We can give you the recording. And then if you have other questions and would like a free consultation, reach out to me. I'll put Didier's email address in the show notes. You can also reach out to him. In the meantime, guys, here's to your best health, your best wealth, your best wisdom. Be kind to yourself. And if you're celebrating Halloween or any of these amazing upcoming celebration of the dead and honoring the dead, we wish you much healing, connecting with your ancestors and your loved ones who have gone before. And we send you so much love. Bye-bye for now.